Okay. Hello, everybody. It's Friday, the 22nd of January, and Bobo has realised he's being filmed. Um, so this afternoon, we're going to look at some topic. So I'm going to share my screen now, so I'm afraid you won't be able to see my little friend anymore. So hopefully he's as interested in topic as you are. Right, let me move that out of the way. So, oh, why did it do that? Our big question is obviously what makes a good leader, and that's a rights and responsibilities theme. So today, I thought it would be helpful if I said what we might need, because later on, if possible, if you're able to print out a map of the UK, you might want one for later on in the lesson, because there is a task that you can do on a map. If not, don't worry, you just need your English book and a pencil or a pen. Okay, so what do we know so far, thinking about our topic? So I'd like you to think about using these topic words from our vocabulary list to try and explain what we've learned so far about the Celts and the Romans in our topic lessons. So you can pause the video here and just think about how you can explain what's happened so far using those words. So pause the video now. Okay. So I would say, if I was explaining what we've learned so far, we've learned that the Celts lived in Britain a very long time ago. So they were in Britain before Jesus Christ was born, so before zero, at around 450 BC, and they were here till about 50 AD. And they lived in tribes. So that was our other topic vocabulary word. They lived in tribes. And then obviously an invasion happened. So we had the Romans coming to Britain and gradually taking over the country and running the country. So last lesson we learned about Boudica, who was one of the Celt leaders. She led a tribe, but then she ended up leading a whole army to battle against the Romans. But unfortunately, they were defeated. And I wonder if you can remember what happened to Boudica. Can you remember? Do you know? No, he doesn't know. She poisoned herself, didn't she? So that's what we learned about last week. So looking at our timeline, we can see that the Celts were living in tribes way back here. They were in Britain for about 650 years until the Romans began invading and finally conquered Britain. But why did the Romans want to invade Britain? So we know that they came, but why did they come? So have a little think. Why do you think they might have come to Britain? What might we have that would be useful for them? So you can pause the video here and just think about that question. Okay. Right, let's continue. So, sorry, I just suddenly thought I wasn't recording, but I am. So let's have a look at the question of why the Romans came to Britain. And to do that, I'm going to stop sharing this screen because I have a video to share with you. So let's go to the video. Okay, there we go. So interesting stuff. So although we know that the Romans did invade and did conquer Britain, they had actually tried before and failed. So it wasn't that easy for them. They didn't just come over and take over straight away. But hopefully at the beginning of that video, you heard some things that the Romans found in Britain that they wanted. There were things that they wanted to use. So it mentioned tin, gold, and iron, and it also talked about how we had lots of cattle too. So why would tin, gold, and iron be useful? So you have to think about that question. Again, you can pause the video now if you want to think about that question. Okay, so tin could be used to make armor, pots, and jewelry. Iron was used for weapons. Gold was used as money, either using coins or gold bars. And before that, before the Romans kind of introduced money, we didn't really use money in Britain. We would swap things. So you'd like trade with each other, do a deal and swap something you had for something that you wanted. So those were the kinds of things that the Romans wanted to have that Britain had lots of. So here are some places where the Romans built some towns. So we've got Colchester which on there, which we heard about in our song about Boudica last week. So that was one of the places that the Romans set up a big fortress town, and we're going to have a look at that a bit more in our next lesson too, I think. But you can also see lots of other cities there. You can see Bath, which is obviously nearby, but you've also got towns further up in the country like York and Lincoln, but then all the way down in Exeter as well. So spread quite a long way, lots of Roman towns that were built. And then the coloured lines are roads that were built by the Romans as well. So the Fosse Way is the closest one to us. It goes a long way. You can see all the roads are in a fairly straight line because that was the quickest way to get around, by travelling in a straight line. So let's look at more detail at one Roman settlement. So there is one that's very close to us. Any guesses which Roman town is nearby? I did just mention it. So I wonder if you could remember. That's right, it is Bath. Bath is a Roman spa town, and here is Bath, and we know that Bristol and Yate are just really nearby. It's only about 20 minutes drive. Oh, there's a train going by. I don't know if you can hear that. It's quite noisy. Okay, so why might the Romans have chosen the location for Bath? So why would they have settled there? Well, in fact, the Celts had already recognised that the hot spring water of Bath was something special. It was treated as a special place dedicated to the goddess Sulis. The Romans invaded what was then called Aqua Sulis in around 43 AD and built lots of buildings, defensive walls and roads. So although Bath is like a Roman spa town, there was already a settlement there, but it would have been a lot smaller. It wouldn't have all the buildings and things. It wouldn't have had the spa buildings and stuff. It was just used as a place dedicated to this goddess Sulis. Okay. So apart from the lovely hot spring waters, which are still used for bathing at the Bath Spa, what else makes Bath a good place for a settlement? Here is a map. This is an old map of what Bath would have been like. And so this dark line going around here is actually an old city wall, which would have protected the very centre of the city. And there are still a few little bits of wall remaining. And that particularly the street names are more obvious. They're more clues to this Roman settlement. So you've got lower borough walls there, and there's upper borough walls. So obviously the walls would have been once going around that centre of the city where you've got the abbey and things in the very middle. But what else is there in Bath apart from the lovely hot spring waters, which people used to go and bathe in because they thought it was really good for them, healthy thing to do. And the Romans loved a good spa. So we also have in Bath, there is the river. So that would have been really useful for obviously for water, for washing and things like that. And a good way to get around as well. You can transport things along the river. So that would have been useful. Also, Bath is surrounded by lots of fields. So obviously where I am on my boat is like out in the countryside, and there's fields everywhere. So there's lots of land to keep animals and things. So that would have been really useful too. And then also, you might not know this, but Bath there was lots of mines in Bath. So that means there's lots of places where they would have dug underground to get something really useful for building their settlements, and that was Bath stone. So the buildings in Bath are made, built out of this really nice kind of yellowy, very pale sort of yellowy stone, and it's called Bath stone. It's this type of limestone. And there are lots of quarries and mines where they would have dug out the stone. So if you were building a big settlement, you'd obviously need lots of stone to build the buildings. And so the Romans would have used the stone that was found locally to build their temples and buildings within Bath. So that was another really good reason to build a settlement here. Okay, so your task today is to write a paragraph explaining why the Romans came to Britain. So I've given you these sentence stems to use. So your paragraph just needs to have these sentence stems, but then you're obviously going to finish off each sentence. So you'll need to write the title, Can I Explain Why the Romans Came to Britain? There you go. And these are the sentence stems to use. So first of all, you're going to have an opening sentence. The Romans came to Britain to expand their empire. So that means to make their empire bigger. Then we've got in Britain, there are lots of fields which could be used for. So you're going to explain what the fields have been useful for. So obviously for keeping cattle, that's cows, but also like for planting crops and growing food that they would have needed as well. So that would be really useful. We also have tin, which the Romans used for, to see if you can remember back earlier on in the lesson, we talked about what they would use tin for. So you can have a look back if you can't remember. Iron was useful because, so think about what that was for. Again, you can look back in the video. And then finally, Bath was a good place for a settlement because, and you can give me a few reasons. So you might want to break that down and do a couple of sentences for why Bath was a good settlement, because there were obviously a few reasons there. Right, and then finally, once you have completed that, there is a second task, okay? So this is the optional bit where you might want to map. So if you're completing this first task, you can pause the video to complete that now. Okay, so then once you've completed that, if you're going to have a go, if you're able to print a map, you can label some Roman settlements. So you can either go back in the video and see the map that I showed you earlier, which had some of those settlements on, or obviously you can just go online on the internet and Google Roman settlements and see what you can find there and see if you can label them on your own map. Okay, so that is the end of our topic lesson for today. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and thank you for joining me again, and I will be bringing you more topic next week. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing your tasks from today. Say goodbye from me and goodbye from the sleepy Bobo.